talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine, and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help you find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer, Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Yes, it is. Welcome into On the Block. We got Austin Orman. We got Eric Strickland. Jay Foreman will be along before too long. This is On the Block, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. They got every type of meat and every type of cut at 4 locations across Lincoln and Omaha. Let's bring him in. Husker Hall of Famer, rocking the polo of the Cooper Flag franchise. What's good, my guy, Strick?
She. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say, man. Look, I'm excited. It's Taco Tuesday.
Have you seen Cooper Flag's goatee?
No.
Pull up the Mavs Twitter. I don't know if they posted it today or yesterday, but Cooper did not rock the facial hair at all at Duke.
No, he was clean cut.
Little babyface assassin going on there. Even though the hair on top of his head didn't get too long. But he shows up to the NBA draft.
Oh, I see it.
With a weird little mustache, a little facial hair. Coop's got he's got a little chin strap going on.
Yeah, a little chin strap.
I'm not mad at it. It's weird. I'm not used to it, but I'm not mad at it.
He got a little chin strap going. Okay, he trying to show a little growth and
thinks he's all grown
D-town
up.
Maturity. I see what he's doing. You know, he ain't slick with it.
Do Dallas women like facial hair?
You listen. When your boy Luka first came in there, he was real clean cut.
Very babyface. Got
in there and he had his little chin strappy strap going. He thought he was, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's something about it. I don't know. Kyrie got the full beardy.
He do.
Going, you know.
Tyson Chandler.
And Dan David. It's something about it.
Something about Dallas?
That's why Stricky guy is going.
Hey,
I got a little Dallas in me. You know what I'm saying?
How much of that were you clean cut in college too? Or did that come around?
I've always had some form of a goatee. Usually the full. I usually had the full goatee with the little, airplane
patch,
the airplane strip. And just finally I said, I'm kind of getting a little salty. So let me just going to go full.
You got more pepper than salt still. I give you that.
Yeah, a little salty.
Yeah.
And then let's go full tilt. So that's when I finally just said, let me just grow it out. And then, that's where we are, man. I actually like it. I just kind of let it go and do what it do.
I'm fine.
You finally let yours go. You just really kind of started letting it go. You got a little scraggly, and then you was like, let's let it go.
Times
you saw Stricky.
I saw Stricky, but the one thing that I don't like to do is just let that
the mustache
upper
part
lip grow out. I can, but I've never really done it before. Right? I could never have been in a frat and gone with just a mustache. It would have looked so bad.
You would have looked like
atrocious.
What's the dude that had the super and he had the mullet? There was a
everything like Catfish Hunter. Like for Major League Baseball? What are you thinking?
Him. But there was a movie. Was it Joe Dirt? Joe Dirt? Joe Dirt. Look him up. 402-464-5685. Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Dirt, right?
With the sideburns that kind of come. Yeah.
That's you, my boy. That would have been you. That would have been you. That would have been you.
Mine is not that full. Mine's not that thick. Like you can almost count the individual hairs if you get close enough. And I at some point, I assume I will end up trying to grow it out with the mustache part as well. But you get to like the corners of the lips, and that's where I run into some trouble there. It's not as thick and not as full as I want, so it doesn't look good. So I just say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just taking off the mustache part like every day, every couple days, just because I'm just not a fan of it, Strick. It doesn't work for me, you know?
Yeah, and some people like the thin strap. Some people like the full beard. Some people like the chin strap with the full. It just depends. And actually, I think a lot of it depends on your face too. You know what I'm saying? Like depending on kind of your chin, your jawline, you know, how that all plays out is what looks best for you. But getting back on track, did you see the average ticket price for tonight's game? $200 and a single $1 average. Like 2,300 or something just for the regular seats, and some, I think close to 6 maybe for the floor seats. And general admission is like, I want to say it was like 100 and something, maybe something like that. Listen, bruh, for Bronny James and your boy, Cooper Fliznae. Now, the crazy thing is, these numbers are even higher than when the alien showed up, Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Now, here, you want to hear my tinfoil hat?
Need it.
My tinfoil hat is this. Similar to Caitlin Clark. Now, not the same, but similar. Caitlin, to me, has a similar type of flow on the women's side that MJ had as far as what they brought to the table.
How long till we get the Caitlin Clark rules?
Well, the way that they treating her, you better hope soon, because even right now, you're in the midst of a CBA for them where did you hear what they're asking?
What?
Asking for more money, less games.
Not going to work.
What?
Not how this goes.
This is no bueno, my boy. Taco Tuesday, no bueno.
Taco Loco Tuesday.
Right. Now, here's the craziness. So you move on.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Embiid, Giannis, Jokic, Shea. A lot of international flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Zion missed the boat. Zion Williamson is like,
he capsized the boat.
My boy, listen. I was on a cruise. Remember, I was doing my shows from the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
I was on that cruise
with Zion.
No, but I had my room balcony facing the dock.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a group of 4 people riding on a go-kart, running, trying to catch the boat that they missed. Zion Williamson, I saw him on the back, running, trying to catch the boat after it started to leave the deck. And all you can say is, in sync, bye, bye, bye. That's all you can say. We was gone. Zion missed the boat. Cooper comes along, my boy.
Mm-hmm.
He has a chance if he really sets his intention, his goal, and his focus on being the best version of himself. Don't try to be anything else. Don't try to be Dirk. Don't try to be Deadlift Shrimp. Don't try to be Larry Bird. Just be the best version of yourself, and the red carpet could be laid out for you, because you're one of the only American-born guys that have come out since really LeBron and the missed boat of Zion, and then Ja Wick. And Ja Wick had a story he could have sold everybody.
Oh, yeah.
With how he came through the system, missed the boat. Now,
you know who else missed the boat, Stricky?
Tell me.
Scott Frost.
Ooh. Yo.
That man threw a wrench into our plans again. He can't stop. He missed the Nebraska boat. He did not. He got on the boat, or he would tell you he was dragged onto the boat, a cruise that he didn't want to go on. And then it's Nebraska's fault for dragging him on the boat.
And then hurricane showed up.
Right. It's Nebraska's fault. Not like Nebraska, gave him a ticket and said, hey, come be our cruise director.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah.
No. It's Big 12 Media Days. Scott Frost got to talking again about Nebraska. He just cannot give it up. First thing.
Pause.
Okay, pause.
Before you break it down. Here's I'm going to give you a little early tidbit because I'm going to talk more about him in this situation later. Here's the thing. What this reminds me of before you even talk about it, Austin, is you have a fire pit, and on the fire pit, you have those burning logs.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that, you can kind of light it and it'll burn nice,
mm-hmm.
And smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And you come along and spray, or no, not even worse, you throw gasoline on it. So instead of it burning in the pit,
smoldering.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's burning everything in the yard. It's going towards the house, and your doggone water faucet isn't working.
Whoop.
That's what it sounds like to me. Now, I'm going to let you tell it. Now, the reason I say that is, to me, he should have been, because you're going to hear him talk. Austin's about to tell y'all. He would have been better off not throwing gasoline on the fire and just being quiet, going on your best weapon. And I'll talk about that afterwards, what the best weapon is. Stay tuned. Stay here on the block because we're going to talk about what the best weapon could have been. Go ahead.
Scott Frost's weapon that he chose was words. He chose these words. Don't take the wrong job. That's what Scott Frost said he learned from Nebraska. That's it. Not organizational management, not how to deal with interpersonal conflict, not some really cool plays from Coach Osborne, not how to win power conference football. What did Scott Frost learn from his time at Nebraska?
Wrong job.
Don't take the wrong job. That's just the first part. Here's the next part. Frost said, I said I wouldn't leave unless it was someplace you could win a national championship. Okay, fine. You hear that a lot from, coaches in mid-majors, group of fives that take the next step. He goes on to say, I got tugged in a direction to try to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier.
Let's just start right there. First and foremost, that shows how feckless and how weak you really are. Interpersonal thing you talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
That someone can drag you into what was he making? 5 million?
Oh, 5, 6 mil, 7, I think at one.
Someone can drag you. Just they led you in ball and chain
to sign a contract that paid you $7 million a year.
And you couldn't say no. Oh no, you was whisked away. And you just couldn't say no. You slipped and fell.
I didn't mean to sign the contract.
You slipped and fell with the pen in your hand, and it just somehow scribbled Scott Frost. Bruh, that in itself is the most idiotic statement that I've ever heard. Now let's move on from that. Then when I look at what you had, all the resources, you don't even really want the people to tell the real stories.
Right.
Like you don't want them to tell how 4 and 5 stars got shunned and you didn't even take the time to go and meet with them. You got so what was you really doing?
What did you think was more important?
Right. So, but that's Nebraska's fault. You had great recruiting classes.
That could have been better if, like you said, you showed up sometimes.
So you know what your teams look like? You know what your teams look like, Austin?
What they look like, Stricky?
Your teams look like you're feckless, undisciplined. I slipped and fell on this penalty. oh, my, I jumped because someone pushed me that wasn't behind me. It was a ghostly figure that pushed me. Oh, the special teams were just all off because the ball was just wetter, and we had ball gate like they had with
Deflate gate
going on, but it was our own deflate gate working against us. You sound like a new fool, right?
Straight up.
So based on what you just said, that tells me how you was a loser. Now here's the other thing. I could go back to when Scott was here, and I could tell you a lot. Let me be. We're gonna move on.
Not airing all the dirty.
We're not gonna talk.
We're focusing on.
We're gonna leave that. Let's. But it's sad. It's sad that he had to even go there. You don't, because here's the thing. Even more now, Austin. I wasn't gonna really go in on him because you know people don't work. You go on and move on. I still wish him success, but more than anything now, boy, oh boy, oh boy, am I wanting Coach Rule to win even more now.
Yeah.
And to slip and fall like you just said you did when you slipped and fell into this game and into the situation you're in right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you see the way that Coach Rule has approached the job, at least from the outside, right, compared to everything that's come out about what happened or didn't happen during the previous, handful of years before Matt Rule got here, it does make you pull for a guy like Matt Rule, right, who seems appreciative of the opportunity, who seems like he's working hard, understands, even better than a native Nebraskan what Nebraska is, what Nebraska is about. At least that's what we're being told. That's what we hear from Matt Rule. The messaging is better. Let's get to some text here, Strick, because there's one at the very end I think sums up a lot of my thoughts on what Scott Frost has been saying. The Kevin says, hey, Frost, make Nebraska a flyover state for you. Okay, a little salty. Gorilla Bear says, next thing you know, it's going to be the golf simulator's fault. He never hit a hole in one. Which is kind of funny.
That's actually good. Who said that?
That was Gorilla Bear.
Gorilla Bear. I love that, man. Great one.
Scott Frost is not a man. He's a boy that cries wolf. John in Cortland has some thoughts as well. Not a good way to show back up. Think you might want to pass on any celebration of the 97 team in a couple years. Yeah, kind of seeming that way. Well, let's start with that there, Strick. 2 years from now, that 97 team is going to get honored. Now, Scott Frost ought to still be coaching at UCF. It'd be year 3 for him and in part 2 down there. Do you think it's the right thing to do for Scott Frost to man up, face the judges and come back? Is it smarter for him to stay away, not come back to this? Can he use the coaching excuse of, oh, sorry, I have a game to not make it work? Should Nebraska specifically schedule it on his bye week to not give him an excuse? What do you think that looks like in a couple years?
If you have your Sam Cassell's, you come and face the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is why I think this cliche word or phrase, is it a cliche? Let's just say this word or phrase.
Yeah.
This is why this word or phrase is a very important one. And it's one of the things that's part of my life mantra is you don't ever look at someone on your way up and kick them and step on them to elevate yourself or to put yourself up. And you never know who you're going to face or who you're going to run across on your way down. That's why I really wanted to treat all people with respect, no matter what, how I was in high school, the way I treated people, the way I defended people is the spot where, like, one quick story. So I'm playing in Dallas, and they had this spot, a really nice spot. It was kind of a jazz spot. It was called GG's Lounge. Okay. And I always like to take a position to where I can observe everything because I can sense energy. I can sense changes. I can say it's time. Right. And something pops off in the spot. But because I had such great rapport with the gang members, the regular folks, the bankers, I had great rapport with all of them because I treated them all the same. I didn't look at myself as better than anybody.
Right.
The minute something popped off in there, this is something that Scott couldn't do now. The minute something popped up, everybody came over and was like, Strick, you good? You all right? You need something? That's why you keep even keel. No matter what you're dealing with, going through, I don't care. It's even a good reason, even though you go through divorce and it was nasty. Not my second one, my first one. I was divorced twice. Even though it was nasty, the first one, I still didn't talk.
Didn't stoop to that level.
I didn't get in the playground and play in the sandbox. And so now, even though you did me how you did, I still can communicate with you now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why you don't want to do stuff like that. Scott, when he comes back, there's people on this text line, even right now, Austin, that would look at him with the side eye, and you will never, not never, but it'll make it very tough for you to be able to regain that unless you come with an absolute spirit of humility.
Yeah.
Like you totally have to come with a new level of a new approach of humility to get out of what you just put yourself in.
I think that's a good spot to hit pause on this conversation. Scott Frost has allowed himself to be drugged back into the sandbox, or Scott Frost is actively taking steps to go back into the sandbox. I want to talk a little bit more about that. I have a couple really good texts on that. Robbie on YouTube has something good to say about that as well. We'll continue talking about Scott Frost's comments about Nebraska as we continue on the block.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikerolloff.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms this morning. Otherwise, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day with light winds and a high near 87. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, a low around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies with light winds and a high near 91. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
It is not how we planned to spend our day, but Scott Frost had other ideas. He's talking about Nebraska again, so we got to talk about it. 402-464-5685. You have any thoughts, any comments, any questions, anything you want to say about Scott Frost's most recent comments about Nebraska? For those who maybe missed what Scott Frost said in the first segment, not of our show, he's at Big Ten Media Days, but Scott Frost on what he learned from Nebraska, he said, quote, "Don't take the wrong job," end quote. He then said, I said I wouldn't leave unless it was someplace you could win a national championship. I got tugged in a direction to try to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier. Now,
Airplane.
On the one hand, I'm totally willing to believe this, right? Orlando must just be, Scott's heaven on earth, right? It might just be his Garden of Eden. More power to him for that. It didn't work at Nebraska. So be it, right? It happens. But Strick, this is where I feel like Nebraska fans have done a much better job moving on and moving forward than Scott Frost had, right? You mentioned that it isn't your MO. It isn't your way about going about business to step back in that sandbox, right? People tried to drag you into the mud, get in, a fight with you like that.
Time has passed, Austin.
Time's passed.
Time has passed. Mm-hmm. The house is burned. Mm-hmm. It's been rebuilt. Why would you go now and freaking light
on fire again?
I know.
Right. It's not your house anymore.
It's not.
It's someone else's house.
It's over with.
And you come dropping that.
It is. Exactly. You literally turned, like I said, Austin, a freaking pit fire with the bricks. You turned it into a forest fire.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
For who?
That part.
Exactly. And I think there's a simple answer for who. For Scott Frost. Strick, this is how I can tell that Scott Frost hasn't grown up as much as I think people have wanted him to since he left Nebraska. There are very simple ways for him to sidestep that question.
Facts.
What did you learn from Nebraska? And I think that's a valid question, right? I'm not going to get on whoever it was asking Scott Frost about that because this is Scott Frost's first head coaching job since he left Nebraska. It is a completely valid question to be asked of Scott Frost.
Yeah.
If he didn't know this was coming, he got a version of it for his introductory press conference at UCF. Got it again here at Big 12 Media Days. I don't know from who, but there's so many things you could say. You could say, I learned a lot from my time at Nebraska. I'm happy to be back at UCF.
Right.
You could say, you know what? I learned that maybe going home wasn't right for me. I appreciate the opportunity. I've grown a lot as a coach. I've grown a lot as a leader of young men. I learned a lot about the game of college football and excited to apply that here at UCF. I learned from my time at Nebraska, that I had people that had my back.
Right.
And I took that for granted maybe. And now that I'm back at UCF, I've appreciated all the support I've gotten. I'm happy to be back here, excited to get to work.
Right.
He could have said that. He chose not to.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott Frost is stupid. I don't. It's a guy that got into Stanford, and I know that, getting good scores on tests isn't everything, but I don't think Scott Frost is dumb.
Is he on that good Chiba?
I hope not. I hope not, for Scott's sake. But this I think goes to his point. I was dragged back to Nebraska. I got tugged in a direction to try to help my alma mater, and didn't really want to do it. But here's the thing.
And it may be true.
It might be. Maybe you didn't want to do it. So then, to your point, you used an F word, not the F word.
Yeah.
You said feckless.
Yeah.
Man up.
Yeah.
You don't want to go back? Don't go back.
Yeah.
If you know you're not ready, if you know you're happy, sure, it's tough. Sure, it's life-changing money. Who am I to say no? I've never been presented with that offer. But then, okay, you weren't confident enough in yourself. You weren't bold enough to take the step to say no to your alma mater and go back home. Make the next right decision. The next right decision is to be man enough now. Say, I've learned from it. It wasn't right for me. Here's why it wasn't right for me. Here's what didn't help me. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what I've learned. This is how I'm moving forward. This is how I'm moving past it. But then you hear him continue to not shut down these questions and answer them in such a pointed, negative way about Nebraska. And more it feels to me, Strick, like Scott Frost, doesn't take any responsibility for the way things went at Nebraska. It feels to me like he wants to keep talking about it. Like he likes the attention about this. When I think everyone else is ready to move on, it still must mean that much to Scott Frost, the way he was treated in his mind, the way he thinks things were handled by other people, that it still sits so wrong with him that this many years after the fact, he still cannot find it in himself to shut down the question with a coach speak answer.
The issue is here. When you're a narcissist, when you carry a level of arrogancy, is that even a word?
It is now. Strictionary.
A level of arrogance, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've bumped that. A level of arrogancy. When you carry a level of that, and then what do most people that have that they want to do? They want to go back to where there's the glitz and the glory, where there was a foundation of that arrogance that was at a high level.
Where he hasn't failed yet.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could probably track a lot of people that do that out of the familiarity of walking into that shine, that light, that arrogancy without question. And you can do it usually when you go back to where you had some of your best success. So here's the issue. You come back here with that level of arrogancy, and you thought that you didn't have to do any work.
Right.
You thought that you just could come in, sit on the golden goose, and
that you didn't want to sit on, remember?
Right. And it's just all going to happen and all going to fall into place. But guess what? When you go into the mansion, say it's a mansion, that's what you was gifted with. The mansion with big money. You had all the resources. It was right here for you. All of it. You had great recruiting classes, everything. But guess what? If you sit in the house and you don't put in the work, it doesn't matter how beautiful the mansion is. The grass is going to turn into weeds.
Dust is going to collect.
Dust is going to. That's what happened because you didn't put in the work and do the activity, and you didn't humble yourself, and you didn't look at it. You looked at yourself above and looked down upon
even
everybody
I don't even know if that could be a part of it. But
no, it is, because I've heard the players. I've heard the old players say that trying to go over there, trying to talk to him, there was a lot of things with him was inauthenticity. There was some fakeness. There was, we want you, but then no, he has gatekeep. There was all that stuff going on allegedly, but that tells me that that's the arrogance of I'm here and so forth and so on.
Here's the flip side of that coin, though. That's what the former players will tell you. And I'm not discounting what they're saying. It sounds like a lot of that is true. But what Scott Frost is saying was, I didn't want to be there. It's one thing to me. It's the result is the same, right? How you get there, it was bad at Nebraska. Bad enough that, as my dad texts in and points out, Mike Riley could have gone 0-12 in his final year at Nebraska and still left with a better record than Scott Frost. Let's think about that.
That's
Mike
wild.
Riley did not take great care of the mansion.
Yeah.
He did make 2 bowl games.
Yeah.
Won one of them.
Yeah.
Had a 9-win season. Not saying Mike Riley was great. Not saying he was perfect. But again,
it was
better record than Scott Frost had. But
and wasn't given the golden goose either.
Was not. But wasn't, right?
Yeah.
But when I think about the 2 ways that Scott Frost kind of came out of this Nebraska job, yes, it sounds like the arrogance, the about him, the inauthenticity absolutely played a part. But then how can I square that with what Scott Frost is saying? Oh, I didn't want to be there. I was tugged. It was something I didn't want to do. Maybe it's just another excuse for him. Oh, since I didn't really want to be there, I didn't put everything into it. Oh, since, I was happier in Orlando, I was never really focused on the Nebraska job. And that's not the defense I think he thinks it is.
Yeah.
In the slightest. That is just as bad as saying I'm above everyone else. Or this job is my birthright. To say, yeah, I didn't want it, so I didn't put my full effort into it.
That's worse.
That explains everything.
Yeah.
Both ways it explains everything.
Both ways it explains everything. And I think, just to show of that arrogance, right? I think Robbie said it. He says it right here. You came in with this level of arrogance.
The Big Ten has to adjust
Just to me, to us, but to me. He's like, I'm bringing my style.
My experiences.
My
brain.
And they're gonna have to adjust basically to me. That if I wish we could go back and even look at some of the Big Ten Media Day press conferences, and you look at how it was when he first came and how it was like before he left. There was a super down period, a little revival, and I thought he did okay, but it still was a level of, it still was that thing in him. And that lesson hasn't been learned. I hope it's learned here. I really do. I hope, look, I don't want to hope bad on him, but if I saw it, I wouldn't mind it. It being that they go 2 and whatever, or whatever. See, you go back to the feeding ground. Florida's a feeding ground.
Yeah.
You're going to get the same thing as in Texas. You're going to get, that's what you talked about, the Baylor situation. You're going to get a lot of that from Georgia and Florida, right? Even a little bit north of that from South Carolina. You're going to get some of the
Charlotte area,
second tiers that are going to want to come down to UCF, right? But I'm just hoping it falters. I'm hoping it stumbles, because I don't like the way that he's coming at Nebraska, the way after they laid out the red carpet for him. And I wish even they laid it out for me like that,
right?
The way that they gave it to him. My gosh.
Right. Let's go to our Starter Human Jewelers text line. Not shocking, people have thoughts on this. Bones says, Frost just sealed the deal of never being welcomed back at Memorial Stadium. This guy is a complete unaware idiot. That's why, Strick, to me, Nebraska needs to make it as easy as possible for Scott Frost to come back for the 97 reunion. They need to put it on UCF's bye week, as long as it doesn't match up, and invite him back. Give him the opportunity to come back, because then if he says no, it's completely on him. You tried. You can, even if you didn't want to bury the hatchet, even if you're going to bring him back to set him up to fail, and you know it's going to go really poorly for him, you can at least, to the forward-facing crowd say, we tried. We invited him back. He no-showed us. We have the invite here. We got his address. We talked to people, that gave it to him. We have it on good authority. He got it, knew when it was.
Yeah.
He didn't come back. That's on him. But that leads me to this, Strick. I don't think that Scott Frost could ever be Nebraska's Steve Bartman. I don't think that's in the cards. I don't think he wants to be, right? I think Bartman is more Mike Riley. Maybe even maybe Bill Callahan.
Yeah.
Right? Because Bartman was just trying to make a play on a ball that was in foul territory. Okay. It happens. Whatever. He didn't want the attention. He faded away. He didn't make it about him. People brought it up to him more and more and more. He said, no, I'm done with it. I'm tired. It's over. Cubs win the World Series. All is forgiven. They break the curse. If by some act of God in my lifetime or his lifetime, Nebraska wins a national championship, I don't think people are going to point back and say, look how far we've come from the Scott Frost era.
Mm-mm.
All these wounds are healed. I think they'll point back to look how far we came from Mike Riley. Look how far this program came from missing
Callahan.
2 bowl games under Callahan.
Mhm.
Look how far this program came from Steve Peterson. That's what I think they'll say. I think all 3 of those guys, even Sean Eichhorst, throw Sean Eichhorst in there. I think all 3 of them are much more likely to get some quasi Steve Bartman treatment than Scott Frost ever will.
It's not a bad point. And I'm going to throw this out. What other situations, the 402-464-5685, what other situations, Austin, that you can right off the top of your head, can you come to the conclusion that something similar, you brought up Bartman, but what else is another type of situation where it made it very difficult for a coach or for a player or for, someone that wanted to be a part or come back, that they did something so egregious or said something so egregious that ultimately they can't? Is there any other examples like that we can 402-464-5685? If you guys, I would love to just shoot that out on the next segment of any other ideas and kind of discuss them and what happened after. I'd like to know, you know what I mean? If you know of any.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get back to that. I want to get to this from 4311, who says Scott Frost wanted to make his dad proud. Jay's in here now. We can loop all 3 of us in here on this. We love our dads. We work hard for our dads, right? We wanted the approval, from our dads, at least to some degree, I assume, growing up throughout our lives. And I'm going to say if Scott Frost wanted to make his dad proud, things would have looked a lot different at Nebraska. Now, I'm sure Scott Frost came back to Nebraska to be closer to his dad and his family, right? We know that's for actual factuals. But do you think Scott Frost can in good conscience say he did everything to make his dad proud? No, I don't think that's anywhere close to the cards. Not anywhere close to true.
Yeah, I mean, Jay would have a little more insight than I would, as far as a lot of things that transpired or some of the sentiments or some of the work that was or wasn't put in. Yeah. He would have a little bit better insight than even Stricky would on that. You want to speak to some of that? Well, first of all, lay out. Were you able to listen?
Scott said?
Yeah, I saw the quote, which look, we've always. I mean, me and you, Strick, have been on the wrong side of a quote where they just take that
is a fact.
They take
out of context.
They take the one sentence out of the paragraph. Now, this is something that's been repeated for quite some time. Look, man, I'm sure, I think, in order to make, your parents proud, I can't speak for Scott. I can just only speak for me with my dad. And I know Strick's dad, and I could speak for Strick's dad and somewhat Strick, is that you just want to, as long as you're a good dude and work hard and all that, I'm sure your dad is okay with it, right? Now, as far as the coaching stuff and stuff like that, I just think, maybe, he's looking back and, maybe he's thinking that, there were some things that he thought he was going to get or happen. It didn't work. But, I think the best thing is when you make a mistake or things don't work out, I look at it like this and I guess you could say, like, when you take this job, you married Nebraska, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in a relationship with the university and the state. It takes two people, 2 entities to get married. And then there's generally one that leads you down the aisle of divorce. You got to take a little responsibility for it, but also understand what you're saying. It probably maybe he's trying to say, hey, look, it was the job not at the right time. Maybe he needs to work on how he articulates it. I can't believe that you say you taking a Nebraska job like Nebraska is the wrong job. I think, I'm hoping, I can't speak for him. I'm assuming, or I'd like to think that he's saying, okay, it was at the wrong time. So then it became the wrong job. I always say, and I'll keep saying this, people can think whatever they want about Scott personally or how he handled the media, how he treated different people around the program, how he was with former teammates, comes into question and stuff like that. All I can say is this one thing I can tell you, in my opinion, there was some outside factors that nobody could control that didn't help him be successful in a crucial time, in my opinion, in any coach's career, and that was because of the shutdown of COVID.
Well, and that's the thing. We're not saying that Scott Frost is only to blame, right? We're not trying to go there. We just don't understand Scott Frost saying like he was coerced to Nebraska. He was dragged back to Nebraska. It was some miserable opportunity that he never wanted to take. It just sounds like he's pushing all the blame off onto everyone else, not taking accountability for himself. And that, I think, is what rankles Nebraska fans. They know that a lot went wrong, and they don't want to pin it all on Scott, which is why I think it hurts even more that he's putting so much of the fault on Nebraska and not taking any accountability in public.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, look, I thought when Bo Pelini got fired, I felt like that state was right down the middle, 50-50.
Yeah.
Like him or hate him, right? Love him or hate him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, and I know that Bo did more positive way more positive than negative, and I think when you bring a homegrown kid, you got to look at, both of his parents are entrenched in the University of Nebraska in the history books.
Yes.
You can't so that means the whole family is him as well. He was essentially equivalent of a 5-star recruit from Wood River, Nebraska,
who also didn't want to be here.
I was about to get to that. Now he kind of
went to Stanford,
gave you the Heisman.
Yeah.
Was welcome back.
That's that same thing we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Go. I'm sorry, Jay.
You know what I'm saying?
What I talked about is real quick so that you understand what I'm saying when I said that. We had talked about how when someone has a high level of like an arrogance or a, type, when they go somewhere and they don't, that light switch don't switch on with the lights and the glitz, the glamour, and you come back to where there's familiarity of that.
Yeah, and he got welcomed.
So he went up to Stanford.
Right, came back. T.O. welcomed him back.
Right.
That's why he had to earn his stripes, and it's a hard situation. You replaced the legend in Tommy Frazier. You kind of were handed the keys to the Porsche.
Prodigal son style.
And we had some. Was it Brabus rims on there? Was it Brabus rims on there?
Yeah, Brabus.
AMGs
with the drop
and the lights when you open the door.
Right.
And he hit the couple curbs.
Yeah.
But you know what? He took them. They were alloy wheels. Went and got them done. Came back the next year. They was shining like a diamond. And he wins the national championship. Goes off and does really well as a coach. He won the assistant coach of the year. Goes to UCF, and the stars were aligned. It was if you asked 100 people, is this the time for both sides? This is it. He had turned down, I think, a couple other jobs. Took the UCF job.
Florida wanted him.
Well, he took originally. I think he turned down the Colorado State job. Stayed at Oregon. Kind of finished there through Chip leaving and Mark Helfrich, and then he went to UCF. 6-6 the first year, I think. Knocked out the park the next year. Nebraska needed kind of like a good face of the program and all that. And I just think here's what I think it was. It was the expectations were too high.
Yeah.
And the standard was never like
met
or kind of set.
That's even better word. I like that.
It wasn't set.
Wasn't set. There was no. It was.
Because the expectations clouded that stuff.
That's good.
And then everybody, I guess the excuse is like, all right, everybody had to deal with COVID. Well, yes and no. And I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just talking about like when you came in and he was able to blow up the roster, which you should be doing with a 7-year contract. You hit the reset. So you imagine you go from a roster that's on time, like as far as juniors, seniors, and all that, to essentially one of the, I think if not at that time, the youngest team in the nation, right? One of them, right? But then, so those guys don't know how to win. They don't know what work is. There's
no culture built.
Right. And there's nobody really to show them the way.
Yeah.
And all these other schools, they already they know what it's like. They know what the winning is. And then you come back and then you have expectations. And then it's like.
And then now people jumping in the portal,
portal,
because there's
and then-
nothing.
right?
Yeah,
Portal, people
yeah,
leaving, people
yeah.
don't, then all this other stuff, and there's some, some decisions that they, probably would like to change, and recruiting misses, and then recruiting, and all that, and then now you got some bad blood, or not bad blood. I mean, it just, and then also I think, like, look, when you come in and you kind of draw the line. And I think there's probably some people that probably have some bad feelings for him to go to Stanford. There's probably people that are mad that, we didn't win a national championship. He wasn't the reason why we didn't win a national championship in 96. And
Who was?
No comment. But it's no, just playing. So there's probably that there. And then maybe it's like, hey, the first conference, press conference. Hey, don't take no pictures of
My family.
my family. Well, then that
Big Ten's got to adjust to us, like someone commented.
right. And then, COVID did two things. It kind of stymied the progress, right? But I'm going to tell you another thing. The worst thing that happens during a break. You get these dudes behind the computer, and they ain't got nothing but time to break down what you're doing. Yo, more coaches, internet coaches were developed during COVID than ever. And
it probably insulated him in his own bubble
and that's what you can't do.
in that position at that time.
No, because the best thing that you can do is get some ideas from people that don't look like, or I won't say look like you, but like the language, you can't just keep going around in the merry-go-round. But then if you keep talking about Nebraska, it's like, damn.
Well, the way I said it is, if you go camping, you have the pit, and then I know we're gonna go to break. You had the pit. You have the logs that you can just light, and everything will be nice and kosher and go down. You just got to keep putting little logs on it if you want to keep the fire going. Otherwise, it'll just phase out.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is phased out. Like there's really no one really talking about the correlation or how bad or all the mishaps and all that.
To be honest with you, he's gotten the pass.
It moved on.
Yeah.
People were looking now at rules, seeing where we're going. Dylan Raiola, everybody's it's kind of like a misnomer, kind of just on the back burner. He comes in and sprayed gasoline on that joint. It's not on the pit no more. Now it's in the yard and it's heading towards the mansion.
To the house.
Yeah. That's what he did. He didn't have
the
to
house
do
is
all
already
that.
not his.
Right.
It's already been rebuilt.
But I think also people that are asking him those questions, they know it's clickbait, so that's good for whoever the reporter is.
Good. He got him.
But I think it's a fair question.
It is a fair
He just
question.
didn't know how to answer it after this long.
Y'all had all that training down there, Dennis LeBlanc and all them.
Yeah, we didn't have
and
anything.
doggone, y'all had all that formal training down there, etiquette and eating, media relations, and he ain't learned that. Look at that.
It's crazy. It's crazy work. Truly crazy work.
Yeah.
Let's pause this. I'm sure we got plenty more to talk about this. We're going to play the shootout with Strick. Call now 402-464-5685. Get your chance to win $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We're putting Stricky on the hot seat today. He's your competitor to wrap up Hour 1.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Fairway has fresh cut meats, seafood, cheese, wine, and spirits, and a friendly staff that's always ready to help you find what you need. Stop by Fairway Meat Market today to plan your weekly meals in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Roll-Offs make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikerolloff.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Roll-Offs, cleanup made simple.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather.
Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers and storms this morning. Otherwise, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day with light winds and a high near 87. Tonight, mainly clear skies and calm winds, low around 66. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies with light winds and a high near 91. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
We are about to play the Shootout with Strick. I believe we have a contestant on his way into the game, or their way into the game. What we got, Ellie? What we got? Pressure's on, Ellie. Need the name. Here we go. Eric.
Connor.
Let's go to our Honda Bling hotline. Eric, are you the Eric?
Yes.
Eric!
Paul!
Yes! How are you?
Good, how are you?
We're great. We are ready. You cannot hit pause on Strick during the shootout. I cannot stop the timer, but hopefully you can put a pause to Strick's winning
I'm
streak.
going to make it put some respect on my name. Put the K on it. Let's go.
All right, Eric, hold on the line. We'll get Stricky his questions first, then we'll get to you here. Strick, your round of the shootout starts here in 3, 2, and 1. Which team did the Red Sox trade Manny Ramirez to, the Dodgers or the White Sox?
Dodgers.
Yep. Which team did the Rangers trade Alex Rodriguez to, the Mariners or the Yankees?
Yankees.
Yep. Which team did the Diamondbacks trade Dansby Swanson to, the Braves or the Cubs?
Cubs.
The Braves. And which team did the Nationals trade Juan Soto to?
Mets.
The answer is the Mets. That is incorrect.
What?
The Nationals did not trade Juan Soto to the Mets. The Nationals traded him to, Eric, do you know?
Cubs?
Oh, no, I don't. Can I get it back?
Nationals.
No, can I get it back?
Nationals traded
Nationals.
Juan Soto too.
Can I get it back? Oh, that's horrible.
They traded him to the Padres.
Dang, I was even wrong then. I was going to say the Yankees.
Nationals to Padres.
That's my
Padres
fault.
to Yankees. And then
I
he was
have
a free
a Juan
agent.
Soto Padres freaking jersey. God dang it. Let's go.
All right, Eric, you need 2 to tie. You need 3 or
I was
more
wrong
to
twice.
win. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, your round starts here in 3, 2, and 1. Which team did the Seattle Mariners trade Robinson Cano to, the Mets or the Yankees?
Yankees.
It was the Mets. Which team did the Tigers trade Prince Fielder to, the Rangers or the Brewers?
Brewers.
It was the Rangers. Which team did the Rangers trade Mark Teixeira to, the Braves or the Angels?
Braves.
It was the Angels. And which team did the Indians trade CC Sabathia to?
10, 9, 8,
Yankees.
The Yankees is the guess. The Yankees are incorrect. We got to give Stricky his music. Eric, I will tell you the Tigers got Prince Fielder from the Brewers, but traded him to the Rangers.
I didn't even know that, man.
Well, now you do.
I thought CC Sabathia got traded to the Yankees.
No, free agency.
Free
It was
agency, my boy.
He was traded to the Brewers and that legendary run in 2008. So,
Come on, man.
Eric, thank you for calling.
Yo!
It's great to hear your voice, but Stricky got this
Hey,
one over
before
on
you-
you.
Pause.
Can I say something before you hang up with me?
What you got, Eric?
So I initially called in because I was a little behind because I'm working. So I didn't know I was calling in for this, but I'm glad I did. So thank you for taking me on this game. But I originally wanted to call in because I had a previous comment on the Scott Frost thing, if you have time.
How about this? Can you hang on the phone so we can take our break and then you can lead us off?
Absolutely.
Cool. Eric, hold on the line. We'll get your call. That's how we'll lead off
The
hour 2
champ
of
is
On the
here.
Block.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Welcome back in hour 2 of On the Block. Austin Strick and Jay with you for another hour here during the show. Then we'll get you set up for teammates timeout coming up at 5. Ellie tried to choke the game away, but she made up for it. Ellie, thank you very much for staying on the phones. We are headed right back to our Honda of Lincoln hotline. We are bringing in Eric, who has a comment about Scott Frost's comment. Eric, welcome back to the show. What were you going to say?
Yeah, this is for Eric. So Scott Frost constantly used to say how he would, fish with Tom Osborne. So would that mean, with all these previous comments that he was saying, does that mean he would throw Tom Osborne under the bus with everything?
Let's throw that one to Jay. Do you get that vibe, Jay, from what Scott Frost saying?
Yeah.
I'm sure, he talked to T.O. about the job. I don't necessarily think he's talking about one person. Scott can only answer that. You know what I'm saying? I just think that, I read more of his quotes. I was just kind of more or less, trying to do him a favor and say that, hey, maybe, me and Strick have always been misquoted. And, maybe he feels like in hindsight, he didn't want to go, but I just find it hard, man. It's hard. Look, man, you got people out here, I guess a football coach, you highly confident. I just find it hard that you didn't want to take this job. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he felt like, it's something that you had to, and you know what, there is, I'm going to say it, but I don't
mean
it. I'm going to say it, understand this, right?
But not with my chest.
Sometimes, and I say it's a marriage, say there are some things that you see and you're just like, okay, everybody else is getting married, so I got to take the job. Or get married. Right. And see somebody that maybe that, all right, I saw some stuff and then it ended up not working out. But you still got married, you still had some kids, you still made a lot of money together. It's just at some point in time, you just got to let it go. Because right, and every reporter is going to keep asking him until he shuts it down because the quote is out there.
Eric, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. Jay, how would you shut it down if you're in Scott Frost's position? What does he need to say to put an end to this?
He can say he's a grown man and he can say whatever he wants. If it was me, even if you had a mistake, I can't speak for Strick. Everybody's had mistakes in their personal life. Say, hey, look, man, it was, situation. For me, if I came back to Nebraska, and I said it didn't work out, I said, listen, man, it was, it was a great opportunity. I thought, there was some positive, negatives that did not obviously work out to the way that I envisioned or wanted to, and probably by nobody's, expectations. I learned a lot, both positive, negatives, and different, but every learning lesson, both positive and negative, I'm going to use to make this, situation at this place, which would be UCF, even better than I had it before, and leave it at that. I don't think, I don't know all the ins and outs of the working, going, every day, I think he probably had good enough support. I think he had, booster support. I'm sure he had, we know he had fan support. It just didn't work out. And it's going to continue to go along. And, for me, the former teammate, some things I'm not happy about or whatever. But ultimately, does Scott really care? Probably not. Is it going to affect, am I going to sit up there and try to, get some UCF night, doll and hopefully they lose? If he goes on and be successful, more power to him. Wish him the best, and, because, he's still, a human, but I think the best thing you probably can do is recognize your hand in it, whether it's one or two hands, and just leave it at that. Nebraska, nobody here made you lose. Now, granted, I think, the players could have played better. They had opportunities, just didn't work out, unfortunately. Because here's what I wonder, though. Here's what I wonder. I wonder if he had made one bowl game in whatever year you were the closest at, whatever it was. So if you look at it over the year that you were the closest to making a bowl game, and then he still got fired at the same time.
Would we go 5-7, make the Mike Riley Foster Farms Bowl appearance?
Right. Or you just somehow you get to 6-6 at some point in time. Maybe it's the year before or whatever. And maybe it's the year that you're the best 3-9 team of all time, and you end up being 6-6, or you're that 5-7, right? Because I think that was on the table then, maybe, right? If you got to 5-7.
Well, Nebraska was 4-7 a number of times,
right?
And then would lose to Iowa to get to 4-8.
Okay, so just say you got to 6 wins in one of them seasons. Would that be the same sentence? Would that be the same quote? Would it still be a mistake?
Right. Let's throw this to you, Strick. Gorilla Bear says, we might have mentioned this already, but how much of it is Scott Frost just refusing to admit he failed to protect himself and what he thinks of it, his legacy and reputation? Do you think he's getting defensive about it to protect himself?
Well, see, but that's the thing, right? Like, okay, if you're just say you're a media mogul. Just say you're like a Jeff Bezos or a Jay-Z or whatever, right? You're some form of a high-profile media mogul. You're even the CEO of a company, right? And you get things that are said about you, people that feel a certain way about you. You deal with it. You've taken the L on the situation. Your best, the best of you is to not engage.
Right.
You don't engage because that's a lose-lose situation, regardless.
Who does it help?
It's a lose. It's always going to be a lose because there's really nothing you're going to be able to say that's going to change the minds or the perceptions of those who are watching, listening. You can go on YouTube and see all kinds of people talking about specific things. You're going to get that. You're best not to engage. Let people talk. Because guess what? There's a thing called news cycles or media cycles.
15 minutes of fame.
It'll switch. Somebody else will pop on the scene. And as long as you're not engaging, guess how they used to go at Kevin Durant? When he had a burner or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Now he's just on Maine about it, but yeah.
So there's all this stuff. It's best to just leave it alone and don't engage. All of that had passed. All of the new microscope and the new magnifying glasses on Coach Rule. It wasn't even half the people in here weren't even thinking about you. Here's the issue. Here's where I think it comes from. I think, Jay, and you can tell me, Austin, I think it comes from that arrogant space within you that you can actually look at the progression. He did something you didn't. And it looks like it's an upward trend. And you didn't want to come back into the mix of the conversation if Coach Rule does what Jay and I talked about yesterday and he has a successful run. If he has a successful run, all of those excuses now, but here's the thing. Now you didn't put a pin in that. Now, if Rule has success, you have pinned it. What you said, Jay, and what you just read, it's now pinned. And everybody's going to revert back because the one thing about social media and the one thing about once it's on on wax.
Once out.
I don't care how much scrubbing and dubbing you trying to do. It ain't. It's on wax.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Nebraska doesn't succeed. Then he was like,
Yeah.
I told you so. Or if UCF knocks it out the park, which they have opportunity this year with the schedule and everything, then it's, they're in, at some point in time, you gotta like, what you're talking about, Strick, is whether you want to say grow up or handle it a different way or deal with it and then maybe internalize it. Sometimes working with, what they say, grace or whatever, or, respect. And sometimes the biggest thing is the maturity is sometimes you just don't say the things that you want to say and just let it and leave it alone. And then you can internally, like with your peers, but sometimes like that, because here's why. When people always talk about the difference between, say like Michael Jordan, and you can even say like LeBron or Kobe or whatever. People, if you just took a walk by, like that lady is right there, you might think, oh, he's arrogant. No, he's just confident. His confidence comes from the work. Arrogance is confidence with ignorance. That means even though that you're confident, you don't know how to talk to the dude on the practice squad. That means you don't talk to the dude on the practice squad. That means you wouldn't help. So say, okay, so just like, let's take it. Say I'm the best linebacker in the league. And you come in on the practice squad and you say, hey, Jay, can I pick your brain on how you become successful? What do you know about, cover 6 with a switch call? And if you get motion, you go cover 8. I'm like, man, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I ain't got time for you. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then, say I go out there and I get my ankles broken. Then, then
step in.
Then you step in.
Yeah.
And do the thing.
Yeah.
And then I told you it was the scheme and everything. Well, you making hay, right? Yeah. So I think I will tell you this: the fact that whatever happened here, like it actually is like if that happened, most coaches, you just never coach again. You get what I'm saying? And I know the situation with UCF, you had success there, so you're able to go back there. But
that was probably the one place you could have gone after a lot of this.
Yeah, but it had to align that they needed a coach,
right?
And
because they weren't just going to hire him just to hire him. Right. It worked out for him.
Yeah, it worked out for him. It seems to always work out for you,
except for one place.
Hold on, hold on. You broke bread now. Not every coach has won every single place they won. I don't know that a lot of coach like. Okay, let's look at Nick Saban.
Shoot, Saban. Yeah, I was about to say Saban.
He didn't work out well at
Michigan State,
at
Miami.
At Miami.
Miami. Okay,
right. Safe to say, Bill Belichick. Cleveland, was that right? Right.
Pete Carroll.
The first trip.
Well, Pete
or
Carroll,
the trip.
Yeah. Right. I mean, right. So let's right, and then who like. I mean, Kirby ain't been a head coach long enough to been a couple places, but coaches. There's not too many coaches that win everywhere they go.
Well, and if you win at one place and you stay, you don't give yourself the opportunity to fail unless
Chip Kelly.
You're there long enough, Mike Gundy style.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then it becomes like the Philip Fulmer. Well, like you're just too consistent, too good. Let's get you out of here. And they're like, oops, we made a little mistake. And Tennessee went through that turnstile.
Yeah.
I think it's worked out pretty dang good for him. And you know what? He's done a lot of great things. He's coached a Heisman winner, Marcus Mariota. He won the I think it's Art Broyles award, right, for assistant
Broyles,
of the year.
yeah.
And he's been successful at UCF. This was a speed bump, and that had an emotional, and ties to it, and it didn't work out. It just didn't. It didn't work out on both ends. But you got look, man. I would tell you this. I know a lot of dudes stuck their neck out. If a lot of dudes stuck their neck out for me, okay, all right, blindly or whatever, I know I'd be handling stuff a lot. I can tell you that for a fact because I know some dudes that stuck their neck out for him, and I'm not even talking about myself. And you know what I'm saying? And those are dudes. Listen. Those are dudes that went to battle with you. Now you don't know him, and you don't owe him anything but the thing that cost you nothing, and that's respect. Period.
Yeah,
That's honest to God true.
It's not 5 cents a text anymore.
Right. We know you ain't got no. What the one dude Tommy, nephew Tommy told you. We know you ain't got no minutes when he called him up. Right. We know you got. We know you got unlimited minutes. You know what I'm saying? You don't need the Nextel chirp or nothing like that.
Oh man.
It may be so. I just you know. And sometimes some things you hate it for them. Sometimes you're like, all right, you know, whatever. And then I think it's just, you know, as long as it, you know, keeps coming up and you keep answering, you're gonna keep getting you're gonna get the same type of response. And I know he's happy where he's at. And you know what? That's
good for him.
Good for him.
Congratulations.
You know
You did it.
The coaching business is a grind. And it's a lot more, there is a lot of pressure that comes with it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Things are constantly changing. I understand that. It's not like you can just coach the team and keep kids here and all that. I understand that. But on the flip side, you highly compensated, greatly compensated.
Yeah.
Right. You got a lot of things that are a lot easier. So really, I don't give a damn. I really don't, because
that's what the money's for.
Right. I have empathy for you, but not too much.
Sympathy, if not empathy.
Yeah.
Let's
they all the same. They pathies. They
pathies, ain't they?
Empathy, all that sympathy. They're pathies, aren't they? Is that?
Indeed, I will grant you that. I'll grant you that.
Pathies.
Let's hit this.
I'll stamp one for you
before we go to break. Bubba's pointing this out, as is RLB on YouTube. Thanks, Tricky, for popping those up there. Don't forget, Nebraska was offered the opportunity to go to a bowl game. Do we have the full story as to why Nebraska said no? And had they accepted a bowl game after 2020, that season, is that enough to change the tenure? Or do people say, oh, that's a pity bowl, it doesn't count?
Well, that'd be like the equivalent of, you know, you guys saying it's the bubble championship. Oh, wait, hold on. Nebraska could have went to a bowl game?
There's that conversation.
Oh, I think the players don't want to go. That ain't on Frost.
But can't Frost put his foot down and say, we're doing this. This will be good for you in the long run. We're going to the game as a team. Think about what it means for the program, for your development. I mean,
yeah, you can.
Couldn't he as head coach?
You can.
But it probably requires something that you've said was missing, authenticity, relating to your players, having conversations with them. So even in a moment with a tough decision like that, they might not agree, but they respect you enough to trust the decision and work through it, right?
I can ask you, you know what it is, Strick, before, like our dads were? It's democracy until you make me do a dictatorship.
Well, right.
That's what my dad told me.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about that part of it, Austin. It really is. It's actually gotten worse for him, because the more you need to be more relatable in this day and age than even when he was making his run the first time at UCF.
Sure.
You have to even have more. But this is why, Jay, we had this conversation some time ago before we connected.
Yeah.
On the block. Is I always said that I believe Scott is like an accountant, where they work best in a silo, solo dolo.
Yeah.
You may engage with one person to find out what they need, and you're able to just sit in your silo. And that's why I thought, as a coordinator, it's always going to be his best position to me.
Yeah.
But I said the problem with Scott is not being able to be relatable. So for him, it's going to be best to find people around him that can do that on his behalf.
Right,
He step in and doesn't have to do it on a major scale, but you have to be more relatable now with transfer portal and with NILs and all of that. All of that requires more than less.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing what you're saying, Strick, is to make sure you got enough people around you, that can look in the blind spots and make sure they come.
Not yes men, not be, because he had a lot of that.
If you want an example of somebody that went and had a about face is Lane Kiffin. He has somebody that is really relatable or does a lot of the things that he doesn't, that isn't in his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
but he also has guys around him that will push back and challenge him.
Yeah, you need that. You need that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You got to be more relatable, and you got to be with the kids. I mean,
But he's never had really that.
No.
It's never really been in his DNA.
Who he is, no.
No, and that's
I mean, it's not
and
a bad
little
thing.
bit- and I think UCF is a good, maybe
Yeah.
it's a good spot for him because
And that can be completely fair.
you can be the head coach at UCF and still go to Hy-Vee and just walk right up in that bad boy and walk right out with about 2 bags of groceries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the time you get in your car, you'll be like, dang, I thought that was a good deal. But here, you can't do that.
Austin, and exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Stricky moved to Orlando. Jay, you hit it.
Because you got dragged to Nebraska to play basketball the first time? Is that why you moved to Orlando?
Right
too?
from Bellevue.
I didn't really want to go. Danny Nee dragged me. I fell on the banana
Drag me.
peel, signed my letter of intent.
But no, real talk, because that was the thing I liked about it. Coming out of a divorce,
Yeah.
going to Orlando, and this is why I think what you're saying. I liked that I can go and dibble and dabble in the Universal smoke, and you're not going to see anybody that's going to know you, and you can just sit in there and have a great meal, cocktail, and there's no drama. Ain't nobody going to be all in your face and looking at you. You just see them pass. You can go do local stuff all around the campus, and you'll have people that know you there. Then you can get off and go downtown and go to other places, and ain't nobody gonna be looking at you, worried about you, or thinking about you. So you're right.
Judging,
You can kind of hide out a little bit better, probably in Orlando, definitely than here. For sure.
You used to be able to.
Well,
not no more though, because here's the difference.
He on site.
Now
He ain't gonna be able to. What's it called? What's his boy? The dude, the actor.
Electric Boogaloo.
No, what's his name?
Oh, Matthew McConaughey.
No, okay.
Yeah,
but the other one,
yeah.
the young one, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio trying to be in places with hats and but bro, Scott, he ain't gonna be able to hide out
the
here.
difference is from that time to now, it's the social media factor. And now people like to take pictures. He could be walking down the street, and the champion is back.
Yeah,
so
Golden Boy.
Champ is here.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's different now. Now I still think Orlando is a lot more chiller place because there's a lot more, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a tourist place. But UCF starts winning some games, and maybe it's just that type of environment is good for. This is a pressure cooker. You have got to be about your business here, and you got to, and it's a mindset.
Speaking about business, let's pay some bills. Plenty more on this to come during On the Block.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 488-8934. HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Doren. God bless you.
Make bill paying a breeze with Text to Pay. LES texts you 1 week before your bill's due date. Just reply to the text to pay. It's that easy. Log into your account at les.com to sign up today.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at StarterHeyman.com.
Starter Heyman Jewelers.
Now's the best time to lock in early order savings on a new John Deere planter from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Plan for success with the latest technology, including Exact Emerge high-speed planters that help you cover more acres with greater precision and productivity. Order your planter for next year now to unlock the biggest savings of the season. Contact your local Landmark location today and experience the Landmark difference.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
We're back here during On the Block. Austin, Jay, and Strick with you. This segment brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're based down in Hallam, Nebraska. Locally owned, family owned team of installers offering free estimates, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows. You can contact them today for more info, 402-430-3852. That's their phone number. You can also visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Fellas, we got a window into the mindset of Scott Frost earlier today, and people have thoughts on it. We're heading to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line here, 402-464-5685. Let's start with Bones. He says, y'all being way too nice after the second round of comments from the guy who came here to spit on the program and former players and now continues to do so after the fact. This guy deserves no respect from Husker fans.
Wait a minute.
Come on, be real. And this is what I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this and I'll let you guys take it. I don't think we're being easy on Scott Frost. I don't think we're being nice to him. I think we're adding context, right? No one is taking any blame off the shoulders of Scott Frost for what he did and what he didn't do.
I went in on him. He must have just got here.
Yeah.
Because I went in.
I mean, I just, you know,
shoot.
I guess go about it another way. You know, it's
It's
hey man,
good to step
I
outside.
don't have there's a lot of people that I don't necessarily particularly care for or whatever, but I'm not gonna sit up here and wish ill will on them.
Facts.
Right.
I'm just gonna. I said that same thing.
Right.
I
don't
didn't
wish
feel
any
that I
ill
was
will on him.
not ill will, but I don't care if he lose. If he go 3-12, I ain't gonna be
like you ain't gonna lose no. I just think like for me, look, he was the head coach. The inner workings and his experience, I can't really say because I wasn't assistant coach or whatever. I can't say that. I can't sit there and say
it's hearsay to you, Fred.
Right. I mean, I have some thoughts or whatever, but I've never been the head coach at Nebraska, so I've talked to people that worked with him and all that other stuff, but I'm not. I'll just keep that at that. I can speak to this though. I take the teammates thing. Like, there's teammates that I've had in high school, college, and the pros that I didn't like personally.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
But if it came down to it,
I would still ride with it.
I'm down for you.
Facts.
Like 4 flat tires.
Facts.
And I know other teammates that felt like that went to bat for him.
Just because you were teammates.
Just because you're a teammate and we're hopeful, right? Look, when you judging somebody on what they did in college, and you're a grown man at that time, you're older and you got a wife and kids and all that. Like everybody's different then. But I know this. The one thing I said, if I would have took this job and I was him, I'm calling on my teammates and I'm gonna say, listen, we're gonna have a conversation one time. If there's some bones to pick, we're gonna be like, man, we're gonna settle it, put it on the table. But I need all you guys for me to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't happen. Okay, so then now you got the blind support, even though it didn't happen, right? But then you left, and you was questioning dude's integrity while you was that I know for a fact that I saw with my own 2 eyes that went to bat for you. And to my knowledge, now I might be wrong if I see these dudes and ain't heard from you since.
That's like walking down that's like walking down the aisle. We all homies, friends. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. But you get going to your seat and you raise your leg up and go on me. You put it on everybody, my boy.
Yeah,
That's the part. He put it on people.
In that sense. When
I wish you could see Austin's face.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you
that is not one of the pithies.
No, it's not. That's chumpsy. That's chumpathy. But I'm gonna tell you that right now. When it comes to that, he's 100% dead ass wrong. You can dump it. He's wrong on that. Period. And he knows it.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
Right. So nobody's saying you owe anybody any money. But the one thing you need to do is always respect your teammates. Period.
Facts.
Even if you don't particularly like them personally or whatever it is, you don't like how they dress or you don't like, you know what I'm saying?
And the sad thing, Jay, it's not limited to football. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. It's not limited to football. Because we've had coaches come in here, Austin, and do some of the same thing. Like they want you to come for all the little show and prove events, but don't want to sit down with you. I'm not specifically saying this about Coach Hoiberg or anything, because Coach Hoiberg's had us at his house, and I'm not necessarily saying this about him, but I know there's other coaches that have come in and didn't. Go ahead, Austin.
Well, I was just saying it's not just about football. It's also not just about Nebraska. A couple people sounded off on this. Mean Joe Green says, is it possible Frost just has a very poor filter? He seems to have a God-given knack for putting his foot in his mouth when the media is actually paying attention to him. And that leads me into this from John in Cortland. He says, UCF has to be caught off guard. This is bigger than just Nebraska. If you're UCF's AD, Terry Mohajir, what is your conversation with Scott Frost? Like, do you have to be his babysitter and say, dude, let it go?
This is the last. Back up, Terry.
Back up. Well, no, Terry's trying to get Scott to back up.
Yeah.
So Terry's trying to do I guess it works. Back up, Terry. But UCF isn't responsible for this, so I'm sure Terry Mohajir is pretty blindsided by this. Like, what's that conversation? Is there a conversation? Does Scott Frost have free reign as the golden boy in Orlando to say anything about it? How does UCF feel about Scott Frost still talking about Nebraska? Can't be feeling good about it.
Hey man, trick. Hey.
Back up, Terry.
That'd be like you married and you still talking about your ex-girlfriend.
Right. Or Kabooms, or what happened at Kabooms.
Or your wife still talking about her ex-husband.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm sure, once the season starts, I'm sure.
Yeah, it all fades out.
Unless.
Well, who's got to look out for.
Hold on. No. Unless, I'm telling you. No. If he has a successful season.
Oh, he's going to come back up.
I guarantee you somebody going, well, how you so successful here, but weren't at Nebraska? Then there it is.
Oh, again.
That's when you got to put the.
Which is more likely? 7-5 Nebraska plays 6-6 UCF in bowl game.
Bump that.
Or 8-4 Nebraska plays 8-4 Texas A&M in a bowl game.
Bump a bowl game straight in the season.
Oh, no.
Let's get it on.
Hey, here's what you want though.
Terrence Crawford and Canelo.
You want 8-4 Texas A&M to take on 8-4 UCF, and you know the AD and the head coach got to go to the luncheon.
Oh,
we need to get media passes.
No, we need Nebraska to schedule UCF
the Tampa,
and we go there. Yeah. No, we go there and they come here.
93.7 take it live from Tampa all week. We're waiting.
Straight up.
Excellent.
We need to go. We need to school home and home.
Nebraska, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen.
Hey, Nebraska has played UCF.
Nebraska's gonna have a 30 for 30 from 1990.
And skip over
93 in the Phantom block or the Phantom block in the back.
From the Florida State game until the Georgia Southern, and just run it all. Just do that. Boy, you talk about you thought the Last Dance had a lot of.
Ooh, wow!
Imagine T. Frey sitting in there.
Who's sitting in there, MJ? And I took that personally. Who's taking this personally?
I don't know, man. I just think
any of it.
It's just crazy. All I will say is that one thing right there is probably if he was sitting there, I'd be like, look, man, I know you know, gonna take whatever I hear like a grain of salt. But I was like, look, dog, that's where you messed up. Period. Point blank. There's no you can't tell me any different. Yeah. Because it's factual.
Yeah.
Now all the other
and the Northwestern. Throw that one in there too.
Oh.
The onside kick, Jay.
Oh, dang. I didn't even
You forgot about that?
Yeah, I did forget about that. I did forget about that.
Shee! Yeah.
You didn't forget about the plane ride over, though.
Jay, we was there.
No, I was not there.
Jay,
I was told that
wasn't out there?
Nah, man. They told me they didn't have a seat for me, man.
Jay, I was there.
To the brother, they said they didn't know if I had his
live and in
back.
color, watching that at the Aziza. Is it Aziza?
I think it was Aviva.
Aviva. I was right down.
I heard
I
they
was
had
salty. I didn't even go out that night. I was so salty. I didn't want to see nobody.
That's
talk
not even
to
your
nobody.
program.
And it wasn't even me. I wasn't even affiliated other than with the end. I was salty.
The problem was Jake Sorensen went. He's a Dolphin fan. You know they're going to lose.
Jake was saucy too. He had a good old time. Po Jake. Me and Jake took a picture out there too. We had a good time. It was a good time until it wasn't a good time.
I'm gonna tell you what though, man. If you ever want to get some attention, just say Nebraska. But in this case, that it falls on him because he answered the question.
They had a bar that was a Nebraska bar.
Oh, I know they was ready over there.
It was a Nebraska, and I can't remember the name. I want to say it was but it was like Cornhusker or something. It was affiliated with Nebraska in Ireland. I was dumbfounded. We need to go back over and play some golf, Jay.
It's tough, man. I don't know, man. I'm tired of hearing about it.
I'm
sure he's here.
All right. Final thoughts then. Anything else you need to get off our chest on Scott Frott's comments or him personally or anything that's happened at Nebraska in the last 15 years?
I'm quick. I spit it out. I'm good. I had a whole segment without Jay. So you saw I went in. So
you did.
I'm good. I didn't laid it all out. So Jay, you go ahead.
Any final thoughts to send us to break?
And like I said, when it comes to the former players, he was on some sucker stuff. Period. There's no doubt. I will never back off on that, and he knows it.
Mm-hmm.
In the situation that he was in, he was on some sucker stuff. He did, pulled a couple chump moves, and that's something that he has to deal with. He don't ever have to face it because he's getting paid for it, and all the other stuff. I can understand his point, but I don't, and that's his choice of how he wants to evaluate his time at Nebraska. Anytime things don't work out, you always probably, man, I probably should have did something different. But as far as the dudes that with blood, sweat, and tears with him, and I will tell you, and I say this, I know one dude in particular, and I won't say his name because I haven't asked to say his name. Now I'm gonna tell you this: one dude in particular went to bat for him like no other. Okay, that wasn't even a former player; he was a former employee. I'll even say this, Take the former players that are teammates out of it. There's one dude that he needs to apologize before that more than anything, and has yet to do it to make it right. And that dude more than put his neck out there. He put his whole reputation and body out there for him, believed in him, even when he wasn't winning, for a fact. And we be still lighting him up in the text messages, though. We tell him it's his fault. But that's the dude that I would tell you that he needs to do to act that right. So on that note, that's some sucker stuff that he did.
Yeah.
There's the final word until the next time he says something about Nebraska. 15 years ago today, history was made, changed the course of a professional league.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that to wrap up on the block.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at StarterHeyman.com.
Starter Heyman Jewelers.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Now's the best time to lock in early order savings on a new John Deere planter from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Plan for success with the latest technology. including Exact Emerge high-speed planters that help you cover more acres with greater precision and productivity. Order your planter for next year now to unlock the biggest savings of the season. Contact your local Landmark location today and experience the Landmark difference.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. To honor the new store opening, A1 is offering $25 off any service over $300, $50 off services over $500, and $75 off services that total over $750. All through July 31st. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, it's very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning.
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
15 years ago today, the decision was made for LeBron James taking my talents to Southeast. Austin, Jay, Strick, we're in here with you for about another 5-10 minutes or so. Getting you set for the teammates timeout. Final segment brought to you by Love Volleyball Omaha. Strick, give you the floor first. Jay can pen his love letter while he waits. How did LeBron's decision change the NBA? And was it for the better or for the worse?
Well, I think for me, what it did, it was the ultimate pinnacle of player empowerment. It set in full motion the Big Three model. And with all of those pieces running together, I think it killed the Kobe, the Jordan, the Dirk, the Tim Duncan, it killed the stay home, both for the teams and for the players.
Yeah, I think it's one of those monumental decisions. I think the way he handled it, heck, we just talked about it, the way he handled it, the decision and all the other stuff was I think he even said wrong.
He would have changed
right?
it.
No,
Yeah,
I think
he would have done it
Because
different.
you said the Boys and Girls Club.
Right, but he said he changed it, right? Look at the humility.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think the way he handled it was wrong. I think the decision actually did more positive. I think the player empowerment, being able to stand up for yourself, being able to get out of situations where maybe you were led wrongly, like as far as like, hey, we're going to get some guys and help you. If say you go to Memphis and you're waiting on management to do some stuff, I think that move allowed the players to have more control. I think the one thing it did in the negative, as far as the NBA, I think it killed any sort of rivalries. You get what the rivalries are built by slowly but surely building teams, and players continue to get better. And then we hate, I think Boston and New York will all be there, but like the rivalries of, seeing you get swept, like the Timberwolves used to get swept by the Lakers, and say they start to build
OKC
up.
losing to.
But we're talking about years and years of the same players being in that. I think that
watching that grow. Well said. My question then becomes Jay, which one took more of the brunt of the ill feel about that move, him or Kyrie, when Kyrie left Boston, or when he left for Miami?
I think Kyrie did because of the way. Number one, because of Stephen A. Smith. I think Stephen A. Smith killed Kyrie. He's killed a lot of guys, and I didn't realize how many people hate him. Like Michael Beasley hates that man.
Yeah.
LeBron hates him. I think that was part of it too, and I think how Kyrie left.
Yeah.
And I think also the expectations of Kyrie. I think Kyrie leaving Boston to
go to Brooklyn
is a byproduct of how he left Cleveland. because of the expectations. You know, he pretty much was the Batman or the Robin, Batman or Robin to that championship. He gives LeBron the gas face without even giving him a complimentary call, straight up.
Yeah.
And then he gets to Boston, and he has everything under his,
his control.
His control.
He's ahead.
And he's like, "Yeah, I'm out." After
Austin,
after he said he was going to leave. Or stay.
Do we end up with our current CBA without LeBron making that decision?
No,
I don't think so.
And you don't get the type of money quickly without LeBron. When you look back, his impact on the league financially is like Jordan's was financially, brand wise. Jordan was a big money maker. LeBron opened up the floodgates to do scrubs getting paid. Right,
bro?
Am I correct? The dude, who's the dude that just signed?
You wouldn't have to file those papers. You could have been traded and gotten your little bag too.
That part.
Who's the dude that just signed with the Bucks 3 years, $12 million? And ain't nobody know who he was. They thought he was somebody else.
Inflation. NBA inflation, bro.
Because what it's allowed
That's crazy.
The star players to do is pick their roster, even if it's the 6th, 7th, 8th guy on the roster, and it's probably by the agents. Everybody.
That's a fact.
Paid. So that's what LeBron.
Because Shea got 71 stackers a year. Oh Lord, have mercy.
Hey, the other NBA news. My boy P5, Paulo Banchero, rookie max with a player option.
Broke bread. He down in Orlando.
Down and no
tie it all together.
Taxation.
And then he didn't even have a home gym until Kevin Durant told him, said, "Man, you need to have a gym in your house."
Crib.
He was living in a condo. He said, "I'm in the dorms." Hey, he said, he looked like Raleigh Durham. He said, we get on the elevator, go down to practice. He said, Kevin Durant said, "Nah, bro, you the franchise.
Oh man.
Take a ride with me. This is your house next year. Sight unseen."
Yeah.
And now look at it.
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead with your bad self.
Man, what a show. Not where I saw it going when
we
woke
thank
up
y'all
this morning.
We thank y'all for tuning in today. We appreciate it.
Tuning in, sounding off. Hey, shout out Tipsy Tina's for that. Shout out the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese.
Yeah, you got to thank Scott Frost too. We got about 500 viewers. You got to thank him.
Shout out Scott.
He ruined our show.
No,
Go ahead, play it.
No, send him a text. I guarantee he won't sit text.
I can do that. We're going to text Scott Frost thank you during break. Teammates timeout next.